Susan Lazar-Hart here, your congruency coach. Welcome to another Ask Susan transformational, motivational Monday moment. A question for you. Have you ever felt like everything you've ever asked for is showing up, and all of a sudden you're watching yourself let it pass you by? Not because you're disinterested, but you just can't seem to catch up. You're spreading yourself too thin. Well, that's the question that came in on our Congruent Living Facebook from Marlena. And Marlena says, Susan, I've been feeling like I'm juggling too many things lately. Everything I've set into motion, I've been working towards, it's finally happening, but I'm struggling to keep up. How do I prioritize and fully embrace these opportunities that are coming my way without spreading myself too thin? Well, this is a common dilemma many of us face. We set intentions, we dream big, and then when those dreams start materializing, we find ourselves overwhelmed and unable to fully embrace them. Does that feel familiar to any of you? Especially right now, as we approach a change in the seasons, the change in the universe? Well, imagine you've been dreaming of starting your own business. You put in the hard work, you've made the necessary adjustments and preparations, and suddenly opportunities are coming your way. Potential clients reach out, investors express interest, and it feels like everything is falling into place. But instead of seizing these opportunities with gusto, you find yourself hesitating, unsure if you have the bandwidth to take on more. That's actually what was occurring with a client of mine. And yet another client said, I'm yearning for deeper connections and more meaningful relationships in my life. I've put myself out there. I've opened my heart to new experiences. Now I find myself surrounded by amazing people who uplift and inspire me. But instead of nurturing these relationships and diving deep into the connections that actually truly matter to me, I find myself spreading myself too thin, trying to maintain superficial interactions with everyone and not wanting to let anybody else down. Sound familiar? Here's a third example for you. You've been longing for more balance and fulfillment in your daily life. You've set intentions, you prioritize self-care, you have set an intention to pursue your passions, to find joy in the little moments, and yet when possibilities and opportunities for relaxation and rejuvenation present themselves, you're too busy, you're too distracted, you put it to the side, you spread yourself too thin to fully embrace them. Well, in each of these scenarios, the problem isn't that you're not getting what you asked for. It's that you're not fully embracing it because you spread yourself too thin. Now, what does spreading yourself too thin means? It means saying yes to everything and everyone because you're afraid to miss out on any opportunity. But in the progress, you're diluting your energy and missing out on the depth and richness of each experience right in front of you. A lot of people call that the shiny object syndrome. A lot of people call that, being an empath, where you're picking up everybody else's thoughts, feelings, and emotions, and you go for it, and you go for it, and you go for it, and you've lost yourself in the middle of it all. So what can you do instead? Well, here's some questions to ask yourself. So get out your journals, have a re-listen again. And if you like this and you're listening to it on our YouTube, please share it with a friend. This is something really important, especially as we change seasons right now, because our bodies go through seasons, as do our whole being. So the first question I'm going to ask you is, what truly matters to you? So that's a question. Write it down. What truly matters to me? Take some time to reflect on your values, your priorities, and your targets right now. Not the ones you had that aren't working out, but right now. What brings you joy and fulfillment? What are you willing to prioritize in your life right now? Because often when we choose something, we start to get involved in something and it's actually draining our energy. It's not adding to our energy. It could be that it doesn't matter to you anymore. It could be that you've moved on, right? And that's when we spread ourselves too thin. We try to capture what we thought we had, what we wanted to create, instead of putting our energy into what truly matters to me right now in my business, in my relationships, in my finances. What matters to me right now and what's bringing me joy. Next question. Where am I spreading myself too thin? Just ask that one. Simple, right? Identify areas of your life where you're saying yes to too many things, whether it's work, projects, social commitments, or personal obligations. It's about writing down, where am I spreading myself too thin? And then asking, what part of this works for me? Well, I was talking with a client recently and they said, I don't want to let anybody down. Well, this is your reality. What lens are you looking through that you've decided, if you choose for you and choose you first, you're letting someone else down? Chances are that's an entrainment that you had at a very young age from a caregiver who expected you to do what they wanted. And when you didn't, they said, you've let me down. And as a little being, you're like, oh, it must be true. They say they love me. They feed and clothe me. Where am I letting everybody down? You see how that kind of gets into your being as a little being? And so you spend your whole life trying to make everyone else happy so you don't get that disappointed look from a caregiver, a lover, a boss. What if none of it was true or real, right? It's about you, what you're asking for in your life and in your living. What lens are you looking through? A great question to ask when you're spreading yourself too thin and you've decided, oh, but I have to do this and I have to do that. Whose lens are you looking through? What creates the greatest amount of possibilities for you is what generates and creates. You're the ripple, not somebody else. Next question. What am I afraid of missing out on? Big one, because we're not talking FOMO, we're talking JOMO, the joy of missing out here. Explore the underlying fears and beliefs that drive you to say yes to everything. Are you afraid of missing out on opportunities? Again, are you afraid of disappointing others or not living up to their expectations? Now, this is the kind of work we do with the Congruent Method. It's about being in the question of where is it that you are? Where would you like to go? And how can we create the possibilities of you actually letting go of what's draining your energies, of what isn't working for you, with the simple awarenesses of, is this yours? Somebody else's? Is this an entrainment? What are the possibilities here for you of creating a life you love? Well, it's your choice, right? If you find you're running around trying to do too many things, stop. And then ask yourself our fourth question, which is, what can I say no to? So give yourself permission to say no to anything that doesn't align with your values or serve your highest good. Practice setting boundaries and prioritizing your own well-being. And I've given you this one before, put it on a sticky note. This doesn't work for me, in the most generous of ways, with love from your heart. Practice saying, this doesn't work for me, and practice saying, oh, this does work for me. Because if it becomes second nature, you'll find that you can actually be clear on what you can say no to, what you're willing to say no to, and what greater possibilities saying no will create for you. Number 5, how can I go deeper instead of wider? Well, focus on the quality over quantity. Like we often say, oh, if I only had time, I could complete this, or if I only had time, what kind of quality are you creating in your life and living? Focus on quality over quantity in your relationships, in your experiences, and in your commitments. Invest your time and energy in the things that truly matter. Remember, what you put your attention on grows. That's the energy. Let go of anything that doesn't contribute to your growth and fulfillment. And the thing is, if you're willing to let go, and again, it takes practice. There's all kinds of tools that we have with the Congruent Method that will teach you how to make this second nature of just letting go of what doesn't contribute to your life and living, so you can create a life you love. And by asking yourself these questions and making conscious choices to go deep instead of wide, you'll find that you're able to fully embrace the opportunities and experiences that actually do come your way. You'll feel more present, more engaged, more fulfilled in every aspect of your life. And most importantly, you no longer will feel like you're letting your dreams pass you by because you're too busy spreading yourself too thin. So the next time you feel like everything you've asked for is showing up, but you're letting it pass by, remember to go deep. Stop, go deep, ask these questions. Focus on what truly matters in creating a life you love, in creating that business you love, in creating that relationship that you've been asking for. And watch as your life transforms in ways you've never thought possible. So here's to creating a life you love. And if you want to just check in with yourself and say, I'm not sure where I am all this, I've created a wonderful self-assessment. Just go to susanselfcheck.com and see where you are in meeting your own needs. Because the truth is, that's who you be. That's what you came here to be and do. No one else can satisfy that except you. So until next week, live boldly, love greatly, and be that fearless leader you came here to be. One who is enraptured with what and how they're creating. And if you love some help with this, reach out to me. Just come on over to my website, susanlazarhart.com, and you'll see a space you can contact me. I'd love to shift and change whatever isn't working for you, because our life is our life, and there's no need to put it on the sidelines while we spread ourselves too thin to enjoy it. It's not what I want for you, and I know that's not what you want for you either. Until Monday and our next Ask Susan, come on in with your questions. Write them either in our Congruent Living Facebook, or you can write me personally. I can't wait to hear what's popping for you. Bye-bye.